Sometimes, the loudest confessions are the ones never spoken. Not every man wears his heart on his sleeve. Some carry it quietly, letting their feelings slip out in ways so subtle, you might miss them if you aren't paying attention. He may not be ready to say the words. Maybe he's unsure if you feel the same. Or he's waiting for the perfect moment when the timing is right and the risk feels worth it. But even in his silence, his heart finds ways to reach you. It's in the way he watches you without making it obvious. In the way his attention sharpens when you speak, like the rest of the world has faded and you're the only one left in the room. In the way he remembers the things you told him weeks or months ago, holding on to them as if they were treasures. Some men aren't afraid of their feelings. They are just careful with them. They understand that love, when spoken too soon, can get lost in the noise. So instead, they speak through actions. A glance that lingers. A small kindness offered without being asked. A simple text that arrives at just the right time. If you've ever wondered whether someone in your life is quietly holding back their emotions for you, it's worth paying attention to the little things. Because for men like this, those little things aren't little at all. They're the map that leads you to the truth. He doesn't need to make grand gestures or loud declarations. Instead, he builds a quiet consistency, showing up when it matters, noticing when your mood changes, making space for your words. Even in a crowd, his focus finds its way back to you. And even in silence, he's saying far more than you realize. The beauty of these silent signs is that they are not rehearsed. They happen naturally, almost unconsciously, because you've become part of his thoughts in a way he can't hide. His body language softens when you're around. His words become more careful, his actions more deliberate. And while he may still be holding on to those 3 words, his heart is already speaking a language you can feel. Over time, you start to notice the patterns, how he always seems to be near without making it obvious, how he lingers in conversations as if he's hoping they won't end, how his eyes light up the moment you walk in. These are not accidents. These are moments of truth, quietly woven into your everyday life. Today, we're going to look deeper into those patterns. The moments that might feel ordinary, but aren't. The gestures that may seem small, but speak volumes. Here are 15 silent ways he waits for the right time to tell you. Signs that his feelings are already there, just waiting for the perfect moment to step into the light. 1. He maintains longer eye contact than usual. He maintains longer eye contact than usual, and though it may seem like such a small thing, it speaks volumes if you know how to notice it. Most people look away after just a couple of seconds, but when a man is drawn to you and waiting for the right time to express it, his eyes tend to linger. It's not just a passing glance. It's a quiet, unspoken connection that he holds onto a little longer than he needs to. You might catch him looking across the room, and instead of quickly averting his gaze when you notice, he holds it for a heartbeat longer, maybe even letting a small smile form. This kind of eye contact feels different from casual friendliness. It's steady, warm, and has an underlying depth, almost as if he's searching for a moment where words aren't needed to express what he feels. In that silence, he's telling you that you matter to him, that is comfortable enough to let you see a glimpse of his thoughts. Sometimes, it might happen in the middle of a conversation when you say something that resonates with him. His eyes will lock onto yours, and the world around you will fade just a little bit. For him, it's not only about attraction, it's about timing. He may be holding back from speaking too soon, but through his gaze, he's letting you know there's something unspoken between you. Eye contact like this has its own rhythm. It's longer than usual, but not so much that it becomes uncomfortable. It's perfectly balanced between wanting you to notice and not wanting to rush what's unfolding. Over time, you may notice a pattern. In group settings, his eyes still find you. In moments of silence, they rest on you. And in laughter, they seek your reaction first. Without uttering a single word, he's quietly building a bridge of familiarity and trust, waiting for that right moment when his gaze will be accompanied by the words he's been holding on to. In those extra seconds of eye contact, his feelings live, patiently waiting to be spoken aloud. Keycap 2, he finds excuses to be near you. He finds excuses to be near you, and while on the surface it might look casual, there's a quiet intention behind it. When a man is waiting for the right time to share his feelings, physical proximity becomes one of his subtle ways of expressing interest. He may not be ready to confess outright, but his actions naturally pull him closer to you, almost as if being in your space feels like the most natural thing in the world. You might notice him appearing in places you didn't expect, joining a conversation you're having with someone else, taking the seat next to you when there are other options available, or standing close enough to hear you even in a crowded room. These little moments aren't accidents. They are his way of weaving himself into your daily rhythm without drawing too much attention to it. Sometimes it's practical, offering to help you carry something, walking you to your car, or coincidentally arriving at the same event early so you end up waiting together. Other times, it's subtle, leaning on the same counter you're at, adjusting his path so he passes by you more than once, or picking the same coffee shop corner you've chosen. This closeness isn't about invading your personal space. It's about creating opportunities to be around you without forcing conversation. In those quiet, shared moments, he's hoping to build familiarity, to make his presence a constant in your world. It's also his way of silently communicating that he enjoys your company so much, he'll find reasons, even small, seemingly unnecessary ones, to be near. Over time, you'll notice the pattern. In group settings, he somehow ends up beside you. In casual meetups, he offers to help with things others might ignore. And in those moments, his nearness becomes comforting rather than intrusive, a gentle reminder that he's there. By staying close, he's quietly creating a safe, familiar space where one day, when the timing feels right, words will finally replace these silent gestures. Keycap 3. He remembers small details you've shared. He remembers small details you've shared, and it's one of the clearest, most unspoken signs that you matter to him. When a man is quietly holding back his feelings, he often channels them into careful listening. He's not just hearing your words, he's storing them, replaying them, and making sure you know, in subtle ways, that your thoughts stay with him long after the conversation ends. It could be something as simple as recalling how you take your coffee, the name of your childhood pet, or the song you mentioned loving months ago. These aren't the kinds of things people remember casually. They stick because, to him, they are pieces of you, and he values them. You might notice it in small gestures, bringing you a snack you once said you liked, asking about the work project you mentioned in passing, or referencing a funny story you told weeks before. What makes it powerful is that he doesn't make a big show of it. There's no announcement, no grand reveal, just a quiet moment where he lets you know he's been paying attention. In doing so, he's telling you without words that your presence in his life has depth, and that is invested enough to remember what matters to you. Sometimes, you'll see it when he connects the dots. You might casually say you've been stressed, and he'll suggest the same walk in the park you once mentioned helps you relax. Or he'll send you a link to a book you spoke about months ago, simply because he saw it and thought of you. These small acknowledgments are his way of keeping a thread between your conversations, showing that nothing you say disappears into the air. By remembering and acting on these details, he's building a quiet foundation of trust and connection. It's his way of telling you, I see you, I hear you, you matter to me. And when the time comes for him to speak his feelings, you'll realize those little moments were part of a much bigger story he's been writing with every memory he kept. Keycap 4. He checks in without a reason. He checks in without a reason. And while it might seem casual on the surface, it's often one of the most genuine signs he's thinking about you more than he lets on. When a man is quietly waiting for the right time to share his feelings, reaching out becomes his way of keeping a thread of connection alive. There's no specific question, no urgent matter, just a small message, a quick call, or a casual, hey, how's your day going, that slips into your life unexpectedly. These check-ins aren't about filling silence. They're about creating moments where you know he's there. Sometimes, it's a simple text in the middle of the afternoon. Other times, it's a quick comment about something that reminded him of you, a song on the radio, a place you once mentioned, or a random memory that crossed his mind. Even if the conversation doesn't go deep, the act of reaching out says more than the words themselves. What makes these moments special is that they don't require a reason. is not contacting you to ask for help or to arrange something specific. Instead, it's purely to keep you in his orbit, to let you know you're part of his thoughts without forcing the conversation toward anything heavy. Over time, you may notice the consistency. On tough days, his messages seem to arrive at just the right moment. On ordinary days, they add a quiet spark to your routine. And in all of it, he's gently building a pattern where you can rely on him to appear, even without a prompt. These small, reasonless check-ins are his way of keeping a door open, of making sure the distance between you never grows too wide. They are quiet reminders that he doesn't need an occasion to think of you. You're already part of his everyday life. When the time comes for him to speak openly, you'll realize he's been saying it all along, one small just checking in at a time. Keycap 5. He lingers in conversations with you. He lingers in conversations with you, stretching them out just a little longer than necessary, as if each exchange is something he doesn't want to end. When a man is quietly holding back his feelings, time spent talking to you becomes more than just communication. It's connection. Even in the most ordinary chats, there's a sense that he's savoring every moment, letting the conversation breathe so neither of you has to walk away too soon. You might notice it in the pauses he allows, the way he listens without rushing to respond, or how he finds small topics to keep the dialogue alive. Maybe you've already covered what you needed to say, yet he adds another question, shares another story, or comments on something unrelated, anything to give the moment a little more life. It's not about filling silence. It's about holding on to the space you're sharing. Sometimes, this lingering shows in subtle cues. He doesn't glance at his phone while you talk. He doesn't cut the conversation short, even if others are waiting. If you're walking together, he slows his pace to match yours. If you're talking in a group, he finds ways to keep the focus between the two of you, even without excluding others. There's an unspoken warmth in how he stays, almost like he's building a quiet pocket of time when nothing else matters. It's his way of showing you that being with you is not something he's in a hurry to move on from. Even when the conversation finally ends, you can sense he would have stayed longer if he could. Over time, these drawn-out exchanges begin to form a pattern. You'll notice that he never seems eager to leave your side, that your talks feel unhurried, natural, and safe. And when the day comes for him to finally express how he feels, you'll realize those lingering moments were his heart's way of speaking long before his voice ever did. Keycap 6. He subtly mirrors your actions. He subtly mirrors your actions, almost without realizing it, as if your presence has tuned his rhythm to match yours. When a man is quietly carrying feelings he hasn't yet spoken aloud, mirroring becomes one of the most instinctive ways he shows connection. It's not about copying you. It's about aligning with you, a natural reflection of how closely he's paying attention. You might notice it in the smallest moments. If you lean in, he leans in too. If you cross your arms, his follow a moment later. If you take a sip of your drink, his hand moves toward his glass. Even his tone of voice, pace of speaking, or choice of words may subtly shift to match yours, creating an unspoken harmony between you. This quiet mimicry isn't forced. In fact, it often happens unconsciously, born from a desire to feel closer and more in sync. It's a way of saying, "I'm with you," without uttering the words. And while others may overlook it, you'll start to see the pattern, how his movements and expressions fall into step with yours, especially when you're sharing an intimate moment or light-hearted exchange. Sometimes, it goes beyond gestures and enters shared behaviors. You mention a favorite phrase, and suddenly you hear him using it days later. You discover he's ordering the same dish you once recommended, or listening to the song you casually brought up. These are quiet echoes of your influence in his world, proof that your presence leaves ripples he carries with him. Mirroring is his silent way of closing the distance between you, making your connection feel natural and effortless. It's a subtle dance, one that says he's tuned into you, that he values the unspoken bond forming between you. And while he may still be waiting for the right moment to tell you outright, every mirrored movement is a quiet rehearsal for the day his actions and words will finally align. Keycap 7. He goes out of his way to help you. He goes out of his way to help you, even when it's inconvenient for him, and he rarely makes a big deal about it. When a man is holding back his feelings but wants you to feel his presence in your life, he often chooses service over speeches. Actions become his language, a way to silently say, "I care about you," without putting those exact words in the air just yet. You might see it in the way he notices when you need something before you even ask. If your hands are full, he's already reaching to carry something. If you're facing a problem, he's quietly looking for a solution in the background. It could be as simple as fixing something that's broken, running an errand for you, or offering a ride when it's out of his way. Sometimes, he creates these moments on purpose. He'll volunteer to help set up for an event you're organizing, step in when you're feeling overwhelmed, or handle small tasks that free up your time. And while other people might expect recognition for their efforts, he doesn't draw attention to what he's doing. He helps because it puts him closer to you, physically and emotionally. Over time, you'll start to notice the pattern. His willingness to assist doesn't just show up when it's easy. It's consistent, even when it requires effort. He might rearrange his own schedule to fit yours, travel farther than necessary, or stay late just to make sure you're okay. These aren't grand, movie-scene gestures, but they carry weight because they are real, intentional, and quietly persistent. For him, helping isn't about showing off or expecting something in return. It's about building trust and proving, without words, that you can rely on him. Each time he goes out of his way, he's creating a thread of dependability between you, one that he hopes will make his eventual confession feel less like a surprise and more like something you've both known all along. Keycap 8. He smiles when you enter the room. He smiles when you enter the room. And it's not the polite, automatic kind people give out of habit. It's the genuine, almost involuntary smile that lights up his whole face. When a man is quietly carrying feelings he hasn't voiced yet, your presence has a way of shifting his mood instantly. Even if he's in the middle of something serious or surrounded by other people, the moment he sees you, there's a subtle change in his expression, as though you've brought a little more light into the space. This smile isn't loud or overly dramatic. Sometimes, it's just a slight curve of the lips. Other times, it's a full, warm grin that reaches his eyes. What makes it different is the way it feels. Personal, like it's meant for you and no one else. He might not even realize how much he does it, but those who are paying attention would see that it happens every single time you appear. In a crowded room, his eyes will find you, and that smile will appear without a single word being spoken. In quieter settings, it may be softer, almost shy, as if he's letting you in on a private moment of happiness. Sometimes, it might come paired with a small head tilt or a deep breath, like he's taking a second to appreciate that you're there. It's his way of showing you, without saying it out loud, that your presence matters. The smile is a reflex born from comfort, affection, and the quiet joy of seeing someone who feels significant. Over time, you might notice it's one of the first things he offers you, before a greeting, before a question, before anything else. He may still be waiting for the right time to tell you how he feels, but in that moment when your eyes meet and he smiles, he's already saying it in a language you can feel. It's a silent confession that repeats itself every time you walk into the room, as if to remind you, and maybe himself, that you're the reason his day just got better. Keycap 9. He pays attention to your mood shifts. He pays attention to your mood shifts, often before you've even said a word. When a man is quietly holding back his feelings, his awareness of you becomes finely tuned, almost instinctive. He notices the small changes in your tone, the slight difference in your smile, the way your eyes look when you're tired, and even the pauses in your usual rhythm of speaking. This kind of attentiveness isn't something that happens with everyone. It's reserved for someone he genuinely cares about. If you seem quieter than usual, he'll check in subtly, maybe asking if everything's okay or finding a way to make you laugh. If you're excited, he mirrors your energy, matching your enthusiasm without hesitation. And if you're stressed, he adjusts his approach, softening his voice, offering help, or simply being present without demanding your attention. Sometimes, he doesn't address your mood directly but responds to it through small actions. If you seem down, he might bring you a coffee, send a light-hearted message, or gently change the topic to something that will lift you up. If you look overwhelmed, He might handle a task for you without mentioning it. His goal isn't to fix everything. It's to let you know you're not alone in whatever you're feeling. What makes this so telling is the consistency. He doesn't just notice when you're visibly upset. He also catches the subtle, almost invisible signs that others might miss. A sigh, a shift in posture, or the way you look away for a second longer than usual. These small observations are his way of staying connected to your emotional world. By paying attention to your moods, he's quietly telling you that your feelings matter to him, that your happiness is something he values. He may not have said the words yet, but his ability to notice and gently respond is a silent promise that when he finally does speak, he'll mean every word, because he's already been listening to you in ways that go far beyond sound. 1-0 He listens more than he talks with you. He listens more than he talks with you. And it's not the passive kind of listening where someone is just waiting for their turn to speak. It's the focused, attentive kind that makes you feel like your words are the only thing in the room. When a man is holding back his feelings, listening becomes one of his most powerful silent tools. It allows him to learn about you, to understand your thoughts and dreams, and to connect with you in a way that feels genuine and effortless. You'll notice he doesn't rush to interrupt or steer the conversation toward himself. Instead, he gives you space to express yourself fully, letting you finish your thoughts before responding. His attention is steady, no wandering eyes, no impatient sighs, no subtle signals that is done with the conversation. He might nod, smile at the right moments, or ask thoughtful follow-up questions that show he's actually absorbing what you're saying. Sometimes, his listening is paired with remembering. He'll bring up something you said weeks ago, or use your words as a reference point in a future conversation. This isn't just about being polite. It's about genuinely valuing what comes out of your heart and mind. Even in group settings, when voices overlap, he makes sure he hears you clearly, often leaning in or adjusting his position to focus on you. By listening more than he talks, he's showing you that your voice matters to him. It's a quiet act of respect, one that builds trust without demanding anything in return. For him, it's not about filling the air with his own stories. It's about creating a space where you feel understood, where your thoughts aren't just heard but felt. In the end, this kind of listening becomes its own unspoken confession. Without saying, "I care about you," he's proving it in every moment he lets your words take center stage. And when the time finally comes for him to speak his feelings, you'll know he's someone who won't just say, "I love you." He'll show it by hearing you every single time. 1-1 He chooses his words carefully around you. He chooses his words carefully around you, weighing them before they leave his mouth, as if each one matters more than you realize. When a man is quietly carrying feelings he hasn't voiced, his speech becomes intentional, not because he's trying to hide something, but because he wants every interaction with you to feel respectful, warm, and free of misunderstanding. You might notice that he pauses slightly before responding, especially in moments that feel more personal. It's not hesitation out of uncertainty, it's thoughtfulness. He wants to say things in a way that uplifts you, encourages you, or at the very least, doesn't leave a trace of hurt. He avoids careless jokes at your expense, stays away from words that might make you uncomfortable, and often chooses language that feels softer, kinder, and more considerate. In group conversations, he may be light-hearted with others, but with you, there's a quiet shift. His tone grows gentler, and his phrasing more deliberate. If he compliments you, it's specific and genuine, as if he's thought about the best way to say it so you'll believe it. If he teases you, it's always in a way that invites a smile rather than a sting. Even in disagreements, his careful choice of words shows. He focuses on understanding your perspective, avoiding sharp or reactive language. This isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about valuing the connection enough to protect it with his words. Over time, you'll see the pattern, how his voice steadies when speaking to you, how he rephrases mid-sentence if he feels something could be misunderstood, how his language carries a quiet respect. It's his unspoken way of saying that your feelings matter, that your trust is something he doesn't take lightly. And while he may not have told you directly how much you mean to him, the truth is woven into every carefully chosen word. One day, when he finally says the words he's been holding back, you'll realize has been speaking them all along, just in a way you had to listen closely to hear. 1-2 He avoids rushing emotional talks. He avoids rushing emotional talks, giving them the time and space they deserve instead of trying to push through them quickly. When a man has feelings he hasn't yet spoken, he knows that certain conversations carry weight, and he treats them with care. Rather than brushing past important moments, he lingers in them, allowing you to share at your own pace without feeling pressured. If a topic touches your heart or brings out strong emotions, he doesn't glance at the clock or look for a quick escape. Instead, he stays present, listening intently and responding in ways that show he's absorbing every word. He might let silences settle naturally, knowing they can be just as meaningful as the words themselves. His patience says, "I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere until you've said what you need to say." This patience is especially clear when you're vulnerable. If you open up about something personal, he doesn't rush to solve it or change the subject. He gives you the space to process, to cry, to laugh, or to sit quietly. Even if the conversation is about something difficult between you two, he avoids snapping back or closing it down. Instead, he waits for the right moment to respond so his words don't come from a place of haste. Sometimes, this means revisiting a conversation later rather than forcing it in the wrong moment. Other times, it's as simple as letting you know you can talk to him about anything, no matter how long it takes. His ability to slow down in these moments is a subtle sign of deep respect for you, for your feelings, and for the connection you share. In his mind, emotional talks aren't boxes to check off. They are chances to understand each other better. And while he may still be waiting for the perfect time to tell you how he feels, his willingness to handle these moments gently shows that when he does speak, it won't be rushed or careless. It will be exactly what he means, said in exactly the way you need to hear it. 1-3 He spends extra time around shared spaces. He spends extra time around shared spaces, using them as quiet opportunities to be near you without making it obvious. When a man is holding feelings he hasn't voiced yet, proximity becomes part of his silent language, and shared spaces are his stage. Whether it's the kitchen at a gathering, the hallway between meetings, or a favorite corner at a coffee shop, he lingers there, knowing there's a chance he might see you. Sometimes, it's subtle. You might notice he's still around after most people have moved on, tidying up, chatting with someone nearby, or pretending to check his phone. But really, he's waiting to cross paths with you. Other times, it's more intentional. He might time his break to match yours, accidentally choose the same spot you like to work in, or wander into a place he knows you'll be, even if he doesn't need to be there himself. These moments aren't about stalking your every move. They're about creating natural, unforced encounters. He wants your interactions to feel easy and organic, not staged, so he blends into the rhythm of the space until being near you feels like the most natural thing in the world. Over time, these repeated overlaps become a quiet pattern. In the mornings, he's in the same spot you like to start your day. During events, he gravitates toward the areas where you seem most comfortable. Even when he's busy, he'll find small pockets of time to be in the places you frequent, just so the possibility of sharing a moment with you is there. It's his way of weaving himself into your everyday life, building familiarity without forcing connection. And while he may not yet have found the moment to say what's on his mind, each shared space becomes a silent page in the story he's writing, one where your paths cross often enough that, eventually, the conversation has been waiting for will feel like it was always meant to happen. 1-4 He notices changes in your appearance instantly. He notices changes in your appearance instantly, often before you've even had a chance to mention them yourself. When a man is quietly carrying feelings he hasn't expressed yet, his attention to you becomes almost instinctive. His eyes naturally scan for the little differences that others might overlook. It could be a new hairstyle, a subtle shift in your clothing style, a fresh pair of shoes, or even something as small as a new shade of lipstick. This isn't just surface-level observation. It's attentiveness that comes from truly seeing you. He doesn't wait until it's obvious or fashionable to point it out. He catches it right away, sometimes the very moment you walk in. His comments might be soft and simple, like, "You changed your hair," or "That color looks great on you," but they carry a warmth that makes you feel seen. Even when he doesn't say anything out loud, you might notice his expression shift, a quick smile, a subtle eyebrow raise, or that extra second of eye contact when he registers the change. These tiny reactions are proof that he's tuned into you, that he notices the details most people miss. Sometimes, it's not about complimenting big transformations, but acknowledging the smallest tweaks, how you rolled up your sleeves differently, swapped your jewelry, or tried a new way of tying your scarf. The fact that he notices even these small things says a lot about how closely he's paying attention. By instantly recognizing changes in your appearance, he's sending a silent message that you matter enough for him to see you fully, not just in passing. It's a quiet kind of care, one that doesn't need grand declarations to be felt. And while he may still be waiting for the right time to put his feelings into words, moments like these are his way of telling you, without speaking, I see you, all of you. 1-5# He gives you undivided attention in a crowd. He gives you undivided attention in a crowd, making you feel like the only person in the room even when you're surrounded by dozens of others. When a man is quietly holding on to feelings he hasn't voiced yet, this is one of the clearest signs. His focus naturally gravitates toward you no matter what else is happening around him. You might notice it in the way his eyes find you quickly, scanning past everyone else until they land on you. Even if he's in the middle of a conversation, he'll glance your way, subtly making sure you're comfortable or engaged. When you speak, he tunes out the noise, leaning in slightly, listening as if your words are the most important thing being said. In a group discussion, he positions himself where he can see you clearly. If you're seated, he might angle his body toward you. If you're standing, he makes sure he's within earshot, ready to respond when you chime in. It's not about ignoring others. It's about making sure you feel heard and valued, even in the busiest of moments. Sometimes, this attention shows up in small gestures, refilling your glass before anyone else's, laughing at your jokes even when the rest of the group doesn't catch them, or stepping closer so you can talk without shouting over the crowd. It's his way of protecting a pocket of intimacy in a space that's otherwise full of distractions. What makes it so telling is how consistent it is. No matter the setting, a family gathering, a work event, or a night out with friends, his focus finds its way back to you. It's a silent confession, hidden in plain sight, saying, even here, with all this going on, you're the one I'm paying attention to. And while he may still be waiting for the perfect moment to express his feelings aloud, you'll realize that in every crowded room you've shared, he's already been telling you, in his own quiet way, that you are his center.